Good morning. It's a little earlier than normal, but I have to be someplace at 8, so I'm speaking now because today I want to talk about shortly after, maybe a week or so after I had my almost check bounce, was angry with God and had to repent when I found out that He had already taken care of all of our needs. The one I shared yesterday. Anyway, about a week after that, one night about 9 o'clock, I got a phone call from Sid Dewberry. Mr. Dewberry was the owner of the firm that I'd worked for up in Northern Virginia. And he called me I was surprised, obviously, and he said, Dick, two of my top men in the municipal section just left and started their own firm. Paul DeBingston and John Bell, both of them excellent engineers. I knew they were going to leave because they talked to me about being part with them when they started, but I was already committed to go to seminary, had no intention. Anyway, Mr. Dewberry said, Dick, why don't you come back and work for me? I said, I can't do that, Mr. Dewberry, you know. He said, I'll almost double your salary. And I jokingly told him, I said, you remember what Jesus told Peter? Satan, get behind me. I can't come. I'm committed. He said, well, I don't know what to do. Maybe I should just do away with the municipal section. I said, no, you got a big firm. You got capable you got surveyors and capable other engineers. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll help you find somebody who could head it up. Kind of surprised I said that. But I did know a lot of engineers from college and ones I'd become acquainted with in the state. So he said, well, that would be fine. And then we talked till after midnight. I felt like I was being his pastor. He was opening up with personal things that totally surprised me. But anyway, I think because of that, I felt even more of a desire to help him find somebody. So, in the next 4 or 5 days, I made a bunch of phone calls to friends that I'd had in college, different people, to see if they were interested in going to work there. It's a big firm, and it was a good location in Northern Virginia. So everybody I called either were satisfied where they were, or one reason or another were not interested. So I was driving home from seminary one day, and I had the thought of calling one of my old college professors, Ernie Janelle, Dr. Janelle. And I quickly brushed it off because I knew every firm in the state of Virginia had tried to get him to leave Virginia Tech and come and work with them. He was an excellent teacher and just really knew his stuff. So I dismissed it. And then later, I don't know, the same day or maybe in the morning, I had the same thought again, call him. And I said, this is crazy. He isn't going to do it. So I had the thought again. So I said, okay, 3 times. Maybe this is God. I can't believe it, but I'll call him. I don't know who else to get. So the next day, I actually called Virginia Tech and got him. And we talked a little bit. He remembered me, and we talked about what I'd been doing. And then I said, the reason I'm calling is Mr. Dewberry, Sid Dewberry, is looking for somebody to head up his municipal section, and I'm calling to see if you might be interested. And to my surprise, he said, if you'd have called me yesterday, I would definitely not. But something happened last night, and I've decided I'm going to leave Virginia Tech and go work in the out in the private field. I was blown away. I said, now, are you sure? He said, yes. I said, well, I'm going to call Mr. Dewberry as soon as we hang up, and he's going to call you back. Are you sure you want that? He said, yes, I'd love to talk to him. Excuse me. So I called Mr. Dewberry, and I called the office. Excuse me. And his secretary, who I knew, I can't remember her name now, we'll just say Margaret. She said, Dick, he's real busy right now. I said, well, Margaret, he's going to want to hear this. She said, well, I don't know. I said, trust me, you won't get in trouble. So she put him on the line, and he said, what's going on, Dick? I said, well, I just talked to Dr. Janelle. Of course, he knew who he was. He said, and he's open to talking to you. Well, he immediately hung up, called Dr. Janelle, and they set up a meeting. And he called back. I wasn't there, but he left a message that they had connected and were going to meet together. These phone calls, of course, in those days were long distance, and I had taken time away from work, not a lot, but maybe 5 or 6 hours that I could have been working, and I was on the phone. And then the long distance was probably $100 worth of stuff. But I felt really committed to Mr. Dewberry. He'd been really nice to me when I was there. He'd given me freedom to share Christ with employees or clients, and I had. So I was real pleased that this seemed to be working out. And maybe a week or maybe, 5 days later, he calls me back and says, we've made an agreement. Dr. Janelle's coming to work with us. I've given him part of the business. And he was just real excited. He said, if I'd have gone through a headhunter to find him or someone like him, it would have cost me big bucks. He said, I want to send you some money. I said, well, I didn't do it for money. I was happy to help you. And he said, no, I want to pay you something. I said, no, we're okay. And he insisted again. He said, I want to pay you. How much should I send you? And I said, well, I'll tell you what then. You pray, ask God how much he wants you to send me, and do that, if it's anything. Well, about, 3 or 4 days later, I get a check in the mail for $3,500. This was in 1973. The old car I'd been driving back and forth to seminary was falling apart. And I went out and bought a new Dodge Omni. Can you believe you could buy a car for less than $3,500? And we bought a trampoline that my great-grandkids are still jumping on here in Harrisonburg. It was like the Lord just opened up the door. I mean, how could I have dreamed of such a thing? And what's the chances of Dr. Janelle being ready that day and not the day before, if I'd have called? Another example of the Lord meeting our needs. In addition to that, the church that we had come out of in Northern Virginia started sending us a stipend each month. And between the two things, we really never had a financial problem again, although we had to be frugal and watch what we did. It was just a totally different way of life for us financially after that. I think it all really stemmed from when I had to work through trusting God to make a provision in our life. The Lord is good. You have a great day. I love you, and keep following the Lord with all your heart. Goodbye.